Hello, this is Tim Fox, and this is Project 2 for SAT 3511. Previously, I had to set up one forest, and with this project, I had to set up a second forest and set up a cross forest trust, along with a few other line items that I'll go through later on. I have redesigned the Active Directory from the previous project. I've actually separated the networks, as you can see up top. My Fox server 1 is now acting also as the router. It just makes administration simpler. Okay, for the first one, I'm going to show the domain controllers in SAT 3511 fox.com. So this is the domain controller, and this is the forest information. Here you can see it is the SAT 3511 forest, the global catalogs, and let's see, the schema master, which is also part of the grading, is changed to LA2. This is the LA1 computer. Okay, and I will show the the SAT 2511 domain. I'll show the same information. Let me minimize this. Here you can see the global catalogs and the schema master. I've named my root domain controller Hancock 1. Which is what I'm at now. Okay, for the second grading, I'm going to show the passive replication policy on the read-only domain controller. As you can see over in the SAT 3511 Fox Forest, there is one read-only domain controller in the root domain. So I'm going to show that now. Okay, there's a lot of information here, but down here where it says read-only replica directory server, LA3. LA3 is my read-only domain controller. Okay, the next item, I'm going to show the trust to the SAT 2511 fox.com domain. If you recall, there's a cross-forest trust between the two domains. One thing I discovered by accident with PowerShell, it seems to me like an account is created, a hidden account for cross-forest trust. And I'm going to show that here. In addition, I'll show it under Active Directory. But if you look at the bottom name, now remember we're in the root of SAT 3511 Fox, and here you can see there's a hidden user, which is interesting. It's just something I came across. Okay, back to domains and trusts and properties and trusts. Here you can see in both windows there's a forest and it's transitive to SAT2511fox.com for incoming and outgoing. So that works, and I'm going to test it in two ways here. The first way is I can click validate. I can give it a name. Let's do, wait, that's not going to work. Well, and it's validated. We're not going to do anything else here. Okay, so that's the truss. And now I'm going to go over to the SAT 2511 domain and show the same information. Once again, here's that hidden account, but this time I'm on the SAT 2511 Fox domain, and here you can see it's created a user with the trusted domain name. Okay, now if I open up Trust, and it's the same information for incoming and outgoing. And I will validate it here. And it's validated. Okay. Now let's go back to the diagram. So now I've shown the trust for both domains. I'll show the schema for the SAT 3511, which will display the infrastructure single master role and the schema master. That's this domain. Whoops. Okay, the infrastructure master right here, LA2. As specified, it had to be changed from, in my diagram, it was LA1 originally, and now it's LA2. So that was done, and as I've showed before, the schema master, I know I'm looking it over here somewhere. That's under the forest information. Okay, here we go. Schema master, LA2. It originally was LA1, and now it's LA2. Okay, so that was completed. Let's go back to the diagram. Show the users for the SAT 3511. Okay. And here are my users. If you look at the pane on the left, I created an OU for Hancock. And here is the users that are located inside the Hancock OU. And then I've also created a security group that the Hancock OU users belong to. Here you can see there's everybody in there. Okay. Back to the diagram. Show the domain controller and show the truss, which I've shown the truss. I've shown the domain controller. Show the schema. Okay, I'm going to show the schema. Here is here's the schema. You can see the schema master, Hancock 1, for the SAT 2511 fox.com domain. So that's been properly set up. Now we'll go back to the diagram. Show the users for the SAT 2511 fox domain. Okay, the users. I'm waiting for it. There it goes. Okay, so here you can see I've created a few users. If you look at the bottom, you'll see there's 3. There's a few others mixed in, but for the SAT 2511 Fox domain, this is all the users here. Oh, here's another one, Ken Martin. I think that's it. Okay. Let's go back to the diagram. Let's see. Now I'm going to log into the workstation. As you can see the diagram on the left here in the SAT 3511 Fox Forest. It's Fox Workstation 1, belongs to this domain. And in the other domain, workstation H1 belongs to that forest. So first I'll be logging into Fox Workstation 1 as a user in the other domain. The user I will be using is Sherry Gates. Okay. So Fox Workstation 1. And logged in. No problems at all. Can access the internet and everything. Okay, now I will be using, okay, now on the SAT 3511 domain is the user Bob Jones. So I will be logging into Workstation H1 here as Bob Jones. Let's just, oops. And no problems at all. Able to access the internet. So that is successfully validated two-way trust for both domains. So in conclusion, this was a really good lab. I learned a lot of stuff. Even separating these two forests on a separate network using the Fox Server 1 as a router. I learned a lot about, how DNS works, the cross-forest truss, setting that up. The book wasn't quite straightforward. As a matter of fact, the book I would even say was misleading because there was additional steps. I had to set up a conditional forwarder. I have a feeling if these were real, registered domains that you wouldn't have to set up a conditional forwarder, but I don't know. This is only a lab, so that's what worked for me. I tried quite a few other things and nothing worked. Okay, well, this concludes